There's two more.
After the top?
Yep. One more. Anyone? Okay, it was questioning. That was the last one. So you see that she used those to try to get her students more involved in the class. And when they wrote down things like that, when they look back at that, they're gonna remember that question, remember that statement. That helps them better understand what they were actually learning. So the last thing for behaviorism is it focuses a lot on mastery learning, which is the idea that all students can learn the material if they're given enough time. So teachers will set your mastery level, and then the major objectives will be broken down into smaller objectives. You start with a formative assignment, which shows where the student is at the moment and where they need improvement, and then the material is presented to the students. Students are then given feedback on their progress and take a summative assignment, or assessment, which is what the student has learned, and if they don't get to that mastery level, they can retake it. I don't know if any of you ever did in math class benchmarks, that you had to get past the first benchmark before you could move on to the next section, and it was like tests. My school, we had to pass all of them before we could pass the class, and that was really nerve-wracking if you saved all of them until the last 2 weeks of school. And then this is used for students for all grades with materials ranging from very simple to very complex.
Okay, the next teaching method is cognitive learning theory, and this is student-centered. It focuses on the mental process rather than the external stimuli. It uses meaningful learning, which is the process of actively constructing knowledge by selecting relevant information, organizing it, and connecting it to prior knowledge. Discovery learning encourages students to learn through unstructured exploration. An example of this would be in high school. A teacher will give their students objects, and then they're expected to just experiment with them, but they aren't given any guidance when they're getting those objects, and then they're supposed to discover the principle of that lesson. Discovery learning without guidance generally doesn't work. It doesn't benefit their learning. Students may not be able to integrate the appropriate knowledge, and they may fail to stumble across the principle of learning their lesson because they have too much freedom in their learning. And this leads to gaps in their understanding and results in negative transfer, which is incorrectly applying prior knowledge to the problem, and zero transfer, which is failing to recognize when they have applied their knowledge. There's also guided discovery, which is a variant in which teacher provides guidance to ensure students discover the intended principle. An example of this would be the teacher actually guides the students to ensure that they discover the principle, and they monitor them through this and then steer them in the right direction if they are having problems. And then there's also expository teaching, which is a highly organized presentation of material from general principles to specific examples, beginning with the activation of prior knowledge. So they can use an advanced organizer for this, which is a tool to present general information. And then by doing this, they can activate relevant prior knowledge and then present general information, and then lastly, present more specific topics. And this is also called meaningful verbal learning. It's to ensure new information will be integrated into the learner's memory in a meaningful way. And by doing this, they can select relevant information, organize the information into coherent structure, integrate the information with prior knowledge, and then teaching the lesson using two different teaching methods.
The last theory we had to cover today was constructivism. And so constructivism emphasizes the role in exploring and interacting with one's environment. There's a lot of guided participation in authentic activities. So one of these would be situated cognition, which is learning in contexts in which individuals work with experts to acquire important skills for the real world. And the example I give is cognitive apprenticeships. I know at least my high school had a lot of these where you go out into maybe the community or something like that, and you find an expert on whatever you want to learn, and they model the experience, and then they explain it to the student, and then the student can participate with, and the expert will kind of coach them. And along the time, the scaffolding slowly fades until the student can explore and create on their own. There's a lot of this in our autos classes in high school. We had a student who went out and worked in an auto shop for credit, and then he learned about cars, and that led to his job, and he's actually very successful in that now. And then another thing in constructivism would be inquiry learning, which is where students construct knowledge and develop problem-solving skills in the context of an inquiry activity. And in this, they formulate research questions, collect and organize data, analyze and evaluate their data, and communicate the results. It's really similar to the scientific method. And so I was going to draw a diagram of kind of like it's kind of a cycle that you go through for the activity. And so you start out with asking a question, and then you investigate, followed by creating something. We'll have an example of that in a minute. Then you discuss, reflect, and then you can come up with other questions to ask. And so we have another video now that's an inquiry-based learning video, just an example of it. So.